Okay, the weather and climate mini. Number 1, warm air updraft from land. So I see warm air. I know that warm air rises. Updraft, that means that it's going up, so that also says that it's rising. From land will cause wind currents. Which statement best supports this fact? Well, just by looking at these options I have here, it says the sun heats up or the minerals on land absorb or reflect heat. I know that we never really talked about the minerals on land. It is the sun that heats up the air, so it's going to be either A or C. So the sun heats up the air, which then makes the air rise. That is correct. Creating a low pressure system that pulls cooler air in from the ocean. Well, I know that warm air corresponds with low pressure because low pressure rises and it has moisture in it, and so that I like. C says the sun heats up the air, which again is exactly the same as above, which then makes the air rise, which again is exactly the same. Creating a high pressure system. I know that high means dry. High pressure means that it's sinking, which is usually corresponding with cool air, so this is incorrect. The correct answer is going to be A. Number 2, which source of energy is most responsible for weather and currents? Guys, pretty much all the time, anytime you see source of energy, that is going to be your sun is responsible for it. The reason that we have currents and weather is because we've got both hot or warm and cold, and we know that the earth gets heated unevenly by the sun, equator being the most, the warmest spot on earth, and the poles being the coldest part on earth. And that anytime you have any difference in temperature, you've got a convection current. Number 3, why are oceans important in the formation of hurricanes? Okay, we talked about how hurricanes, basically we've got our hurricane right up here. This is the mouth of the hurricane, and what happens is that you've got that warm water, and warm things rise, and all of that water is going up into the eye of the hurricane. That is going to be heat rising from the ocean, and that would be responsible for not cold, because cold sinks. Cold water, again, cold sinks. Warm ocean water allows a low pressure system. Okay, if it's low pressure, it's rising, so I like this one. Warm ocean water allows a high pressure system. High pressure is sinking, so it is the correct answer is going to be C.
Okay, a student models convection currents in a laboratory activity. How are the convection currents in the student's model different from the Earth's ocean and atmosphere? All right, so we're looking for something different. We know that all of the energy that heats the Earth's oceans and atmosphere comes from the sun. This model over here, the energy is coming from the hot plate. So that's one difference there. So let's read our answers and see which one indicates a difference. The warm air in Earth's atmosphere and the warm water in Earth's oceans sink. Well, we know warm does not sink. Warm is going to rise. So that one is not our answer. B, the heat source for the Earth's atmosphere and the oceans is the sun. That is true. Which heats from above instead of below. This one's heating from below, so this one may be a difference. This one may be a good answer. C, convection cells in the Earth's atmosphere and oceans flow in the same direction instead of opposite directions. We've never talked about which direction convection cells flow, whether they flow opposite or the same. If we haven't taught it to you guys, it's not going to be one of your answers. D, cold air in the Earth's atmosphere and cold water in the Earth's oceans are less dense. We know cold air and cold water are more dense. Those molecules, when they cool off, they get closer together and they become more dense. That's not an answer. The best answer is definitely going to be B. Okay, number 5. Which type of weather is most expected in Atlanta? Come over here to the map. We find Atlanta. Atlanta is located right here. We see that there is a warm front. And our test was not color-coded, but look, there is a key over here showing that this symbol is a warm front. We also know there is a low pressure system. Low pressure, we think of lousy weather or rain. So let's see our choices over here. A, warm and rainy. Yes, warm front and rainy, that's that low pressure, so that could be our answer. Clear and sunny. With a low pressure, it's not likely going to be clear or sunny. Cooler. We've got a warm front coming in, so it's definitely not going to be cooler, and it is not going to snow with a warm front coming in. So our best answer is A. Number 6. St. Louis is expected to have lower temperatures and higher precipitation levels. Which of the following is most responsible for these weather conditions? All right, lower temperatures, that's going to be a cold front. We know that. And higher precipitation, that's going to be a low pressure system. That's where we get that rain. So let's see if that is any of our answers. Look at A. A is cold front and low pressure. That might be our answer. Warm front, definitely not going to be the answer if we're looking for lower temperatures. Occluded front. We have not even taught you what an occluded front is, so that is not going to be the answer. And stationary front, same thing. We haven't discussed it. The best answer here that get cold temperatures and higher precipitation is A. And number 7, 2 regions in approximately the same latitude or distance from the equator can have very different weather. For example, Florida and California. We talked about that in class. How is it that Florida's weather is warmer than California's? We talked about the fact that the California has that cold ocean current coming down from Alaska right next to it. You can see on this map that's where it would be located. And Florida happens to have a warm ocean current coming up from the equator that goes right past it, called the Gulf Stream current. So the rays of the sun are more directly in Florida. No, they're about the same distance from the equator, so the rays are going to be about even. The tilt of the earth moves away from California. No, that doesn't even make sense. The atmospheric winds reach as far as California, which brings cold air. Again, we haven't talked about how atmospheric winds affect weather anyway, and that's not what happens. D, the ocean currents from the Gulf Stream bring warm water to Florida. We did talk about that in class. So D is our answer.
Number 8, which city will experience a drop in temperature in the next few days? Okay, so drop in temperature, that means it's getting colder or cooler. And so I should be looking for a cold front. This is a cold front. If you're not sure, go back and look at the previous question where it gave you that key. I think that these little teeth here remind me of little icicles, so that's how I remember that it's a cold front. That does move in the direction that those little triangles are pointing. So in the next few days is going to be El Paso. And really there's no other city, considering it's kind of going this way. Even if those of you who thought it might be Houston, it's probably going to miss Houston, but it's definitely going to be getting El Paso. So Los Angeles has already gone through. I'm sorry. Los Angeles has already gone through. So Houston, probably not going to reach it. Chicago is way up there with the warm front. Is that a warm front?
No, it's warm.
It's a warm front. And so the correct answer is El Paso. Number 9, same map. Which city will experience a warm front in the next couple of days? All right, this over here is our warm front. We remember that because it looks like these little suns here. Okay, so that is our warm front in the next couple of days. Again, it points in the direction it's going. So I would say my choices would be either Chicago or New York. That's not Chicago. That's not Chicago. Here's Chicago, and New York isn't even a possibility. So Chicago is the correct answer. Number 10, Great Britain, general area, labeled with Y, so that's this one over here, experiences warmer weather than cities on the west coast of the United States. So I'm just going to put warmer over here. General area labeled with X. So it's warmer, so these are going to be, this over here is going to be cooler. Even though the cities on the east coast of the United States are farther south than Great Britain. Okay? The map below illustrates this explanation. What is the best explanation for the difference in temperature for these two areas? All right, guys, so we're looking at, first of all, where it says that even though the cities on the east coast of the United States or are farther south, even though kind of makes us understand that it has really nothing to do with latitude. So here we've got, so the fact that location Y or location X is closer to the equator really has no difference in here. This is dealing with ocean currents. So location Y over here has, if I follow these ocean currents, that you can see that this ocean current is coming up here and going up this direction. So that makes this warmer, kind of rainier weather. If you ever think of England, you kind of think of kind of gloomy weather, kind of rainy all the time, and that has to do with the super warm water, very humid, rainy, low pressure happening there. If you've ever been to California, you follow this line here. A little bit difficult to see, but you can see right there. If you follow that line there, that is showing cooler ocean currents coming down from the poles. If you've ever been to California, much cooler weather, very dry. That's why they have all those wildfires. So the correct answer is going to be location Y. It has very warm water from the Gulf of Mexico. That is why it has much warmer. Location X over here has got cool water coming from the poles. So that one is incorrect. All right, number 11. Which area in the image above indicates where hurricanes form? We know that hurricanes are formed because of warm ocean water. Okay, that's what it needs in order to form. And it has to be at least 80 degrees. The only place around on Earth that's going to have waters that warm are going to be right around the equator. So the closer, the warmer the water, the more intense, so that's going to be Z.
The weather map shows the weather conditions for one day across the United States. Based on the weather map, which city will most likely experience decreasing temperatures? So we're going to be looking for a cold front in the next 24 hours. This right here is clearly a cold front. It's got those pointy little teeth that look like icicles, make you think of cold. And the cities that are in the path of that would be St. Louis, Minneapolis, possibly Detroit. But let's go to the answers and see which one is the best answer. Denver, because it's raining. Denver is behind the cold front, so it is likely already cold there. Minneapolis, because the cold front is approaching, would be our answer. Atlanta, because a warm front is approaching. A warm front is going to make it warm up, not cool down. And Houston, because of a high pressure area, Houston is not anywhere near that cold front, so it is not likely going to experience a colder temperatures. The best answer here is going to be B for Minneapolis. All right, number 13. In 2011, Typhoon Nesat struck the Philippines and caused widespread flooding. After hitting the Philippines, Typhoon Nesat was predicted to hit the large city of Hanau, Vietnam. So here is our hurricane, or typhoon, which is another word for hurricane, and it's headed towards Hanau. If Typhoon Nesat had continued along the same path, which development would most likely have reduced its strength. Reducing the strength of a hurricane requires cool water or cold water and or possibly high pressure or land. So those are our three hurricane killers. You've got cold water, high pressure, or land. Let's see which answer best would fit those. The formation of a low pressure. Okay, wait, low pressure? That is not going to weaken a hurricane. That would actually strengthen it. The formation of high pressure south of Bangkok. Okay, possible answer here. Let's find out where Bangkok is. Here's Bangkok. So if it was south of Bangkok, high pressure here is not going to do anything for a hurricane way over there. So although high pressure could kill a hurricane, it would not affect it because of where it's located. Cool water moving through the sea east of Hanau. Okay, so that's going to be over here. Cool water coming in. That could possibly go underneath the hurricane, maybe an answer. Warm water moving into the sea. Warm water is going to increase the strength, so it is C.